All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 2022 Recommitment Drive launch call. I am going to be your host this afternoon, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Christian Hernandez, and I'm a member of the National Political Committee, the elected political leadership of the Democratic Socialists of America, the largest socialist organization in the country. Woo! And I could not be more excited to be here with y'all this afternoon to talk about DSA and why we must rebuild, re-energize, and recommit again to the largest socialist organization in the country. Before we get started, though, I'd like to ask y'all to introduce yourself in the chat. Share your first name and your chapter, or if you're not yet a DSA member, where in the country that you're joining us from. If you're watching us live on Facebook, hi, Dad, hello. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. And as y'all do that, I want to briefly remind folks how to be a comrade on the call. We have a number of speakers joining us today, so please be respectful, not only to them, but to each other. Use the chat to ask questions, hype each other up. There's also going to be a form dropped periodically for you to drop whatever questions that you might have about the recommitment drive or anything that gets said today. And if there are any issues at all, feel free to send a message to one of our chat moderators. They have their names listed there to get it resolved. And we also have live transcription for those that are joining us on Zoom. All right, so now back to the why we're here. We're launching a recommitment drive in order to recommit 5,000 lapsed or expired DSA members. Put it this way, if we split that evenly, that's 20 more people per chapter to get plugged into ongoing organizing work. And this effort matters because we need to build long-term infrastructure in chapters to support member engagement so we can keep DSA a strong, member-driven, and member-funded organization. And we stay that way because we are funded by dues. So with that, I'm going to get us started with a quick poll. Let us know if and how you're a DSA member. Are you an annual dues paying member? Are you like me, you're a monthly dues paying member? Are you not a DSA member yet? Are you not entirely sure how you're paying dues? You just don't even look at your debit card statement. So if you can give us real quickly a moment of your time to answer that poll, that'd be super helpful so we get a sense of who's here. Facebook friends, feel free to answer that poll question in the comments. Now, as folks are responding, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Bill Fletcher Jr. Bill is a past president of Trans-Africa Forum, a longtime trade unionist, a writer, a lifelong leftist, and a proud member of DSA.
Christian, thank you very much. This is an honor and a pleasure. And I just want to say to all of you listening, I have been given 5 minutes to do the incredible task of explaining the state of the world. And since that simply cannot happen in 5 minutes, I'm going to implement the Sinatra doctrine, and I'm going to do it my way. So let me start with this. Towards the end of Star Trek Generations, Captain Kirk says to Captain Picard about the situation that Kirk has emerged in. He says, I guess the odds are against us and the situation is grim. From that point, he goes off to battle. In essence, the situation that we face is precisely that. The odds are against us and the situation is grim. And there's change afoot. We can't stop change, but through organization, we can make a difference and we can shape the outcome. There is no inevitability of defeat or victory. It depends on us. And what we're up against, particularly a rising domestic and global right-wing authoritarian movement. We're looking at war and expansion of US militarism. We're looking at climate and environmental catastrophe. We're looking at serious questions about the sustainability of the state. We're looking at the continuation of neoliberal globalization. And it's in this that we can either fall prey to despair or we can decide that there's something that we actually have to do. And that is to build organization. We need to build organization in order to stop the far right. This incredible danger from right-wing populism and neo-fascism. We have to build organization in order to save the planet and respond to the environmental catastrophe by posing a series of challenges, including the way that the economy functions. We have to build people's power. We have to fight at the local, county, statewide, ultimately national level for power to transform society. All of these things must be done, and it cannot be done without organization, and it can't be done without you. Sitting back and expecting that somebody else is going to do it is not a recipe for victory. This is not a situation where you're at a tennis match and you're watching two teams or two players compete against one another. This is one where it is all in. And we therefore need you. We need your active involvement. We need you to sign up now. We need you to get involved. And get involved can be any number of things. Active in your chapter, active at a national level, any number of things. But we need to build and expand DSA because DSA is a critically important force in the socialist left. It's not the only force, but it's a critically important force. And DSA must play a role in building the fight against the far right, building the struggle to save the planet, and building the fight for people power. That's our task. And that is the obligation that I would argue is sitting there in front of each and every one of us. The question is whether we accept the challenge. Thank you very much, Christian. I'm going to turn it back to you.
Amazing, Bill. Thank you so much for framing the moment, reminding us of what it's at stake and making it abundantly clear, not only that a mass movement is the way forward, but our responsibility for organization. We are here as members of DSA because we made a choice. We decided to believe that the world can be better, no matter how often we are given reasons to think otherwise. Part of being an organizer is getting your heart broken because we know how much more we deserve, but never doubt that it does take courage to make the choice to believe and to hope. In some years, our anger, our grief will be equal to or even bigger than our hope. As our fellow DSA member, Cornel West often says and reminds us, to live is to wrestle with despair, yet never to allow despair to have the last word. So let's let hope keep us in action, because seeing us in action is a beautiful thing to witness, and because we believe DSA is the best vehicle to build and confront power and to get us through the major fights of our lifetimes. Yes, we are in the midst of a crisis, many crises, in fact, and individually we may feel overwhelmed and powerless and desperate, but together we can have hope. I became a leader in DSA because reality hit me in the face that no one is going to save us. We are going to have to do it ourselves. I've stayed a member of DSA because even on days when I don't see it, I'm reminded by others that they're here because, as Bill said, I challenge them to be. Some are in DSA, some are in other organizations, and some are still on their way. But I do think the charge of leadership, and certainly the charge of everyone in this room, is to be the reason that people stay in this fight. Be that voice in the back of their head that doesn't let them give up, that reminds them that we don't have to do any of this alone. And that's what it means to be a comrade. The world can definitely feel like it's on fire most days, but hope is never far when you're surrounded by people making a commitment to fighting for the better world that we know is possible. Hope is essential. One particular day when my anxiety was in high gear, I made the commitment and became a monthly sustaining member of DSA. I saw this as the next step for me in recommitting to the vision and forgiving myself for the mistakes I've made along the way. It's reaffirming to watch members bloom into leaders, to bear witness to comrades coming together with fervor and outrage to helping our locals find their ground. I've seen time and again how significant all of this is, both nationally and locally, and it gives me peace to organize, to struggle, and show solidarity with others. And I lessen my feelings of helplessness by planning campaigns, by pushing back on my fear to take action, and strengthening my resolve by linking up with so many others who are not complacent with how things have always been. In August of last year, the convention passed a series of resolutions that will define our work. As leaders, we are also charged with reading the moment, looking at upcoming and likely events, and finding strategic points of intervention in our fight against the capitalist class. The year ahead involves a growing authoritarian current, the learned helplessness of the Democrats threatening midterm elections, and a weak infrastructure leaving the working class without recourse during another pandemic surge and exacerbated climate crisis. Over the last 6 months, the NPC has identified internal and external priorities from the resolutions passed that we believe will help us meet the moment. Organizing the working class for labor militancy. The DSLC and Emergency Workplace Organizing Committee have been supporting Starbucks unionization efforts and engaging workers in their main terrain of struggle, their workplaces. Our NEC is building our electoral capacity to put socialists in office, including 2 of our upcoming speakers who have shown us what it takes to move away from politics as usual and elect organizers who are rooted in the working class, especially those who will champion Green New Deal policies. In the midst of the world on fire, we know supporting local candidates and ballot measures give us a chance to fight back. Internally, we are focused on multiracial organizing, including best practices and how to support and develop our existing and future leaders of color in DSA. We also have a 5-year plan being developed for building out a serious long-term structure for the organization that can more adeptly respond to the moment. There's considerable overlap in all of this work, which we will seek concrete political wins as well to build the capacities of our organization at both the national and at the chapter level. But all of our work relies on the understanding that we cannot rely solely on external events to fuel our growth. These efforts will ensure we build the strong organization that the working class needs. This work can't be done by the NPC or by the respective national bodies alone. It will require time and energy from every single person on this call. I know it can be scary trying to figure out what you're meant to be doing, if you're doing it, and how to keep doing it when the world is making it increasingly hard to trust other people. In these times, it requires being able to forgive whatever mistakes you made throughout the day and recommit to the work that you're doing and the reasons for doing it immediately after. And our penchant for anger can be balanced by the courage to do something with that anger. The last 2 years especially, it's easy to sway between sadness and anger, but don't stop showing up in whatever form that might be. Make that choice so that we can meet the moments ahead. And I look forward to continuing to build a mass movement for socialism with every single one of you. So let's get to work. Now, a big part of organizing work is making asks. I'm going to make them asks, so I'm going to hit y'all with the first one of them, and to get y'all to let me know what you're choosing to do through another poll. So we're going to have a poll coming up on our screen. Which of these will you commit to doing by the end of today's call? Can you recommit by renewing your dues or switching to monthly? Can you sign up to join a national Recommitment Drive phone bank? Can you submit your member story and share why you're a dues paying member of DSA using our awesome hashtag that we borrowed from YDSA, hashtag dues rock? Or can you plug into your chapter's Recommitment Drive? I'm going to give y'all a couple seconds to let us know what you're going to be doing. And as y'all are doing that, I'm going to introduce you to one of our amazing labor leaders. Heather is the co-chair of the DSLC, a proud union lunch lady, and an SEIU Local 1 member, a proud member of Akron DSA, here to tell us more about how DSA is organizing the working class for labor militancy, coming at you live from Richmond. Take it away, Heather.
Hey, oh my gosh, everyone, dues do rock. And so does this event I'm at, which is currently a music festival celebrating 5 Virginia stores for Starbucks that have won their union drives, and we have more stores in Virginia on the way. We have more stores throughout the country on the way. As a matter of fact, there are more than 240 Starbucks right now that have filed for election, and I am pretty sure there's more in the way. So every time I think about this, I just get so excited because this is a sector that has traditionally been considered unorganizable. And there's another company you might have heard of, like small logistics company called Amazon, that we've also heard up until recently just isn't that organizable. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. The cause of labor is the hope of the world, and we are at an unprecedented, hopeful moment right now. It is so exciting to be a part of it. And we have DSLC steering committee members I'm going to shout out to who are on Staten Island right now with ALU. As you can see, we are here in Richmond, and we have our chapters all over the country supporting unionization efforts for Starbucks as well. So as of now, we have more than 50 chapters who are supporting a Starbucks store, and your chapter could be next. I would love it if you could get plugged in with our Solidarity is Brewing campaign. I would also love it if you could get plugged in with our logistics campaign, which is going to be supporting organizing both for UPS for a 2023 strike. Yeah, baby, we love a strike. And of course, organizing some other logistics industry employers. So I am very excited to tell you as well that because dues rock, you are going to be getting a labor staffer to help support our committee with this work. This is a huge development for the organization, and we're so excited about it. And I couldn't be prouder to be a DSA member in general. Every day I wake up and I'm happy I'm in DSA, but right now is just the best because I feel like I am at the beating heart of the labor movement. As a trade unionist, I have always been a shop floor organizer, but now I have the opportunity to talk to others who really care about building power from the ground up for the labor movement to win socialism. So that is what you are plugging into when you are plugging back into DSA. We are asking people to recommit, to stand in their own power as workers, to take back from capital what we are owed. We have created everything of value in this world as workers. And being a DSA member gives us this opportunity to learn to organize, to fight back. So I'm asking you to recommit to DSA. And I am just telling you, this is such a hopeful and exciting time for us. And I can't wait for you to become involved. Thank you so much. Solidarity forever.
Solidarity, Heather. Thank you so much again. Now, next up, we're going to hear more about DSA's work electing socialists to office. DSA has currently endorsed 15 candidates and ballot initiatives in 9 states all across the country. The next speaker isn't one of them, but that's because he's already kicking ass in office as an assembly member representing the 36th Assembly District in NYC. Now, before getting elected, he worked as a foreclosure prevention housing counselor, helping low-income homeowners of color across Queens fight eviction and stay in their homes. It was this job that led him to run for office. He was born in Uganda and moved to New York City with his family at the age of 7. As an assembly member, he is proud to fight every day for a future where each and every New Yorker lives a dignified life, and the distribution of that dignity is not determined by the market. But before we hear from Zohran, let's roll a special message from DSA electeds in NYC.
I'm Senator Julia Salazar, and I am a DSA member. I'm Assembly Member Emily Gallagher, and I am a DSA member.
I'm Assembly Member Zohran Mamdani, and I'm also a DSA member. But you know what rocks?
What? Paying dues.
What's going on, everyone? I hope you will forgive our corny video asking everyone to recommit to pay your dues. My name is Zohran Mamdani. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. Before I say anything, I do have to just shout out, I am wearing my own merch here. This is the Bronx Upper Manhattan and Roses t-shirt. So shout out to all merchandise, because that's, you know, as a washed up sneakerhead, that is something that is critically important to me as a socialist. I wanted to take a few minutes today to thank each and every one of you for being a part of the socialist struggle, for being a part of DSA, and explain to you what DSA has meant to me and what the work that I've done has been over these last 15, 16 months that I've been in office. You know, I ran for office prior to, in about 2020 was my election. And prior to that, I was an organizing committee member for the Queens Electoral Working Group here in Queens DSA. And so my first DSA meeting was in about 2017. And the first thing that really brought me into DSA was the unrelenting convictions that we had and our unwillingness to bend those convictions for the sake of access to power and for the sake of what power wanted from us. And for me, the central issue for me in my life and getting into organizing was around the Palestinian solidarity struggle, was around BDS. I co-founded my school's first Students for Justice in Palestine chapter. And so that is a cause that's near and dear to my heart. And being a member of a slate of 6 DSA elected officials across New York City who stand for a socialist politic in and across New York State, and also are unrelenting in our conviction that that politic has to be the same regardless of where it may be, whether it's Greenpoint or Gaza, is something that gives me so much sense of solace as a socialist in this time. And in these last 15 months, some of the work that I've done as a socialist in office, there are 2 main things that I'd like to bring up. One is that we are here, I represent Astoria in Northwest Queens, and Astoria sometimes has a nickname of Asthma Alley, because a significant amount of the energy that's generated in New York City is generated in Astoria and Long Island City. And it is amidst that context that an energy company called NRG, one of the top 10 largest sources of carbon emissions in the country, wanted to build a fracked gas power plant right here in our neighborhood. And it was the Eco-Socialist Working Group that really sounded the alarm on this proposal. And it is with them that we led the fight against NRG, and we defeated their application to build a fracked gas power plant. And on the day that the application was denied, I got a call from the commissioner of the DEC, the department of within New York State that makes that decision around power plant permitting. And he told me that it is because of the political pressure and the organizing that we did that they had the leeway to make that decision. And that organizing, that canvassing, that door knocking, that speaking to our neighbors on subway stations and throughout the entire district was led by DSA. It was an idea that was originated in DSA and then executed by DSA members, myself in office, and then rank and file members throughout the district. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is my partnership with the DSA Debt and Finance Working Group here in New York City, where we partnered together to support the union, the New York Taxi Workers Alliance union of taxi workers across the city. And we led the fight to secure hundreds of millions of dollars in debt relief for these taxi drivers who had been trapped in a cycle of debt engineered by the city, taken to higher heights rather, or lower depths, whichever way you want to go, by Uber and Lyft and so many of these ride-sharing companies, and then left out to dry, and many of whom were actually taking their own lives in the process because there was simply no way out. And we led that fight to support the union, partnering with the union to secure a landmark guarantee from the city to guarantee each of those drivers' loans, to reduce each of their loans to less than $200,000. And on November 3rd of last year, drivers woke up, having slept the night before with more than $700,000 of debt, woke up the next morning with $500,000 gone. And so for drivers, for the more than 4,000 to 6,000 drivers that there are in New York City who own their medallions, we erased more than $500 million of debt. And that is only possible because DSA put me in office. And because I am a DSA member, and because of the partnership that I have with DSA working groups and DSA branches and DSA members, because without this, we would simply be hoping for a better world as opposed to fighting for it in an active way, organizing for it in an active way. And it was not easy to get to this point, I will tell you. You know, when I was running for office in 2020, we were running against a self-described progressive. And so much of our election was about outlining to our neighbors that it's not enough to be progressive. It's not enough to simply agree with notions that people deserve universal rights. We must fight for them. We must fight for them, most especially when power tells us to fall back. And that is the difference in so many ways between thinking something, believing in it, and acting and organizing for it. And for me, that is also what socialism is. It's the execution of our beliefs. It's the working, it's the meeting, it's the organizing, it's the endless amount of Slack and Signal texts. It's all of these things that actually take what we would hope for into the world that we live in. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you do, because being a DSA member provides me with a sense of clarity, a sense of conviction, and a true belief that we will win the world that we deserve. And the only way that I know that I can keep fighting for it is if our organization remains strong. The only way that I can help lead these fights that have stopped the climate crisis from taking on to even higher depths in our backyard near Astoria, or stopping debt collectors from waking drivers up in the middle of the night and stealing their medallions, is by being a DSA elected, is by being a member of an organization that is the largest socialist organization in America and will continue to climb to new heights. So I thank you so, so much. I ask you, please pay your dues, please recommit, please get invested in any single action you can that DSA is taking in your local area. And remember, #DuesRock. So lots and lots of love to everyone. I apologize if I rambled. I'm just very, very excited about talking about DSA. So love to each and every one of you. Please come to the Socialist Republic of Astoria. And if you do, would love to say hello.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zohran. Hell yeah, we are going to fucking win. Next up, we have a speaker who is here to remind us that just because we take building socialism seriously doesn't mean we have to be serious while doing it. Let's hear it for comedian and DSA LA member, Jamie Loftus.
Hi guys. Thank you for having me. It's always I've really been enjoying listening to everyone speak. It's always fun to do a DSA event because it's like 500 people who are so much smarter than you, and then they're like, okay, clown, get out there and explain socialism. I am really excited to be here. I've been a monthly dues paying member for several years now. Brag if you are not. It's the goddamn day to do it. Can we swear on this? I don't know. It's streaming to Facebook parents. I'm not sure. But I was asked to do this and to talk a little bit about why it's so important to be a dues paying member, even though money and socialism is famously complicated and a hilarious topic. So I'm thrilled to be here to be not landing on a landmine absolutely at all. So what I thought I would spend my time doing, because I've been a dues paying member for years, I was looking around my apartment and thinking, what are I know that some people have issues with, like, well, why give money if I'm already doing direct action? And it's all about giving what you can, whether that's your time or your money. If you can do both, which what I'm trying to say is my house is full of these cursed objects that I spend approximately the amount I would give to the DSA in the space of a month. And if you look around where you're at right now, be honest with yourself. There's at least 5 cursed objects that shouldn't be there, that you're like, I paid how much for that and why? So every time I look at the house of horrors that I've surrounded myself by, I remember that that there's so many worse things. Oh, I'm sorry, someone was like, too much cursing. Okay, it's gonna be okay. Here's my first cursed object. Okay, and about what I would pay in monthly dues to the DSA. I once purchased this at a CVS. Can you see it? It's called Twerking Mummy. It's an ugly thing. If anyone's ever seen it, check out what he can do. It's would you rather be a monthly DSA member or have this at your house? Watch. Like, put it in the garbage. Don't do that. And also, why not both? Why not both? But that said, what if this was in your bedroom and you brought people back sometimes? Not good. All right, my cat's getting afraid. Okay, next cursed object that I have in my home that costs about what I give to the DSA every month. Would you rather be a member of the DSA paying your dues every month, or would you rather have bought this from a roller rink that's closing? Oh, you can't see it. Oh, wait, hold on. No, this is ugly enough that I need you to see it. I'm turning it off. Okay. Check this out. I got this at a local roller rink that was closing. Tragic. It's a really scary thing. I can put it on my head. I guess no, I'm not going to. You know what? Today I choose dignity. All right, this is a dignified event and I don't have to do that. Look, would you rather be a DSA member or have this in your closet and be like, am I a furry? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna put the background back on. Okay, next cursed object. What do we got? Oh, we've got Logan. Now look, you'll notice that my American Girl doll, is his face dirty? Yes. Did I put him on a credit card 5 years ago? Yes. Do I regret a single second of it? No. And Logan, and the best thing is, if you're buying a scary doll, what you can do is also get them in the DSA, which is kind of exciting. So now, not only am I paying my monthly dues, which I would recommend you do as well, because that's why we're all here. You can also sign up your little Logan. And and now he's been a dues paying member for several years as well. So he says solidarity forever. And I'm so sorry you had to look at him like that. My final cursed object that I'd like to share with you before returning to the event that makes sense and not the one that is currently happening, is actually, I'm realizing now, not a good example, because I didn't pay for this last object at all. So while I will repeat, you gotta set up your monthly dues now today. I will say I didn't actually pay for this object. It just literally appeared outside of my home one day. Now check this out. what is going on here? Who is this, right? Like 2 years ago, someone left this outside my apartment. Now, I did think perhaps this means I have 7 days to live. It's been several hundred days since then. So I'm fine. I feel okay. I will say I've tried to recruit this little friend into the DSA several times, and they're a hardcore centrist. It has been so punishing trying to get this thing into the damn DSA. I do not stand for this haunted clowns politics. I don't think that we should, I mean, and I know that we welcome everybody, and I'm hopeful that, with enough talk that they'll one day join. But I would say be a Logan, not a scary clown doll. I'm an adult woman, and sometimes it's like, why am I spending my time doing so thank you to the DSA for welcoming me and my 2 gorgeous sons. I highly recommend that you re-up your membership, pay your dues. In all seriousness, I can't believe there's still a clown on the screen. In all seriousness, part of your dues go back to your local chapter. I love the DSA LA chapter. I know that they'll never speak to me again after this, and I respect that choice. I really love it, and also just keep in mind that your dues money goes towards like buying money and space, or not buying money, Jamie, buying space in which to organize, which is so important. Okay, goodbye from me and my sons.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Absolutely, could not agree more. We all definitely have a bunch of random objects in our rooms, in our homes, that we could instead have used towards DSA dues. I mean, look behind me, all these books that I maybe or may have not read that I'm collecting could absolutely go towards DSA dues. Got a little Bernie bobblehead, maybe could have gone to DSA dues. So with that in mind, and especially when we've been talking about putting our hope into action, let's do it together. Let's renew. We are putting up the link on your screen. There have been folks asking how to renew with monthly dues. If you're an annual member, how to renew your dues. If you're a lapsed member, if your dues have expired, how to join. If you are not yet a DSA member, you can go to dsausa.org/recommit and do it with me now. I am literally on, I mean, you can't see my screen, but I am literally on the website. This is right here where it is. I used to, and I'm just gonna put it all out there, right? Because the bosses don't like for us to talk about money, but I'm gonna talk about money. I used to pay $15 a month to DSA, and then I lost my debit card. So now this is the universe telling me, update your debit card, update your dues, but also you can pay more. So I'm gonna go ahead and become a sustaining member of DSA. So for anyone asking who can say how much I pay in dues, I'm going to be paying $50 a month to DSA, and go ahead and continue to do that. People can fact check me. I'm doing it right now. And I encourage you to pull this link up on your laptop. If you're like me, you probably have a bunch of tabs up, so make it its own window, put it on your phone, renew your dues, or switch to monthly. Again, there's so many benefits to doing it. It's something that you will not regret doing, unlike maybe some of these purchases that we have been talking about. All right, so with that said, and I'm going to give folks the time to do that, I'm going to kick it over to my fellow NPC member, Sophia, who is going to share a little bit more about our next speaker.
Hi, comrades. My name is Sophia. I'm on the National Political Committee, and I'm helping to lead our effort to strengthen chapters from the bottom up by helping them open offices. This is what the Recommitment Drive is all about. It's about scaling up to meet the moment, and chapters are a crucial part of this, and infrastructure building. I'm going to pass it off to Robert Bell. He is a public school teacher. He's a member of Louisville DSA, longtime community organizer, and nationally endorsed candidate for state representative for District 43 in Kentucky. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about what opening an office has meant for him and his chapter.
Thank you so much, Sophia. So yes, my name is Robert Lavertis Bell. I am a monthly member. I pay my dues monthly. Former co-chair of Louisville DSA, former HGO, shout out to HGOs, current steering committee member. And yes, I'm currently running for Kentucky State House District 43 as a DSA endorsed candidate. So about Louisville, some people say we're the biggest small chapter in the country. Some people say we're the smallest big chapter in the country. I think we're a perfectly medium-sized chapter. But what we do is we punch high above our weight. We run sustained, engaged issue campaigns, increasingly active and ambitious labor initiatives, and dare I say, amazing class struggle electoral campaigns like my own right now and Tyler Lehman's for Metro Council. I'm actually calling from my car because I'm in the middle of some canvassing with my comrades, and we do all this amazing work with no drama. Shout out to no drama. All right, so one reason I think we are as successful and as we are, and as the reason that we're able to punch above our weight the way that we do is that we are one of the handful of chapters in the country that has its own office space. We use our office to meet. We use our office to organize, use our office to store our stuff. We use our offices as a place where we can see each other face to face on a regular basis to cut through some of the difficulties of online communication, disagreements, misalignments, etc., and really organize together. Despite our political differences, despite our personal differences, etc. It's really an amazing thing to have an office. And if you don't have one in your chapter, I advise you to get on this. And so one of the reasons that we really want to engage people and to recommit to the organization is that we want more chapters to have offices like Louisville. We want more chapters to have these spaces where they can use them as a base to organize within their community, have a solid base within working class communities, and to really develop a presence throughout their cities, throughout their communities as a gathering place for activists, for organizers, and as a hub for the socialist movement. So one thing about this recommitment drive is that the first chapters that hit their recommitment goal will be shortlisted. And I don't know exactly how many chapters, but will be shortlisted for matching funds for the office of their own, much like we have. So please go back to your chapter, your working groups, your committees, get people to renew dues, to go monthly, to recommit to this organization and to this movement. Because politics isn't something you have, it's something you do. And we do our work together. Having offices is great. And whether you have an office or not, we need to have the spaces within our organization that we all come together however we do it. And we're all in this fight together. I really appreciate you all. I love you guys. Solidarity forever.
Thanks so much, Robert. I also love, I just want folks to realize that we're having our speakers calling in live. I mean, we had Heather calling in from supporting Starbucks workers. We have, Robert coming in from canvassing, literally doing this from his car. And later on, we're going to have a speaker joining us live from in front of Amazon. But in between that, we are going to hear from our comrades in Tampa who are already recommitting members who have already started this effort because they recognize the importance of doing this in their chapter and, maybe jumped ahead in front of everyone, but they're really showing us, proof that this works. So if we can go ahead and roll the tape.
This is Monica down here in the Sunshine State at the Tampa DSA chapter. We did a recommitment drive a few weekends ago, and it was a really great experience. We were able to reach out to about 40 comrades and had 9 of them recommit. Most of them just didn't realize that their dues had lapsed, and they were excited to kind of get a phone call, talk to some people. We also told them about events that were coming up and things that we'll be organizing around. And so overall, it was just a really great way to engage with some of our more distant comrades and encourage them to kind of, come take part in all the actions. So overall, I definitely encourage everybody to participate. We have a world to win, and we need everybody on board. So I hope that, this recommitment drive helps us build a better future.
Woo, awesome. As you heard from our Tampa comrades, getting members to recommit is how we win. So part of that work is also helping other members do that. So we are dropping a link for a phone bank. Got to talk to people, got to get them, spread the good word. So here is the link up on the screen. It's dsausa.us//phone bank. Sign up for a phone bank, help us, help other members renew, up their monthly dues, join DSA if possible. Super important. If you're an at-large member joining us that is trying to find out ways to plug in, maybe there's not a recommitment drive effort in your chapter because you don't yet have a chapter in your area, join us for a phone bank. It's a great way to connect to other members in the organization. And again, we have so many people to call, so please take a moment to sign up. Even one shift will be amazing. I know we have some NPC members that are doing it. So again, please make sure to sign up. That link is up on your screen. And if you are joining us from your phone, the link is dsausa.us/phone bank. All right, now I'm going to take it over to a couple of our almost last speakers, to Colleen and Beth. Colleen is a steering committee member of the Growth and Development Committee and a member of Denver DSA. And Beth is a co-chair of the GDC Training and Survey Subcommittee and the membership coordinator in Boston DSA. And they are both here to talk more about the Recommitment Drive.
Thanks so much, Christian. Hi, everyone. It is so great to be here. It's so great to hear from so many comrades all across the country who are doing incredible work. And I'm excited to talk to you all about the Recommitment Drive. The importance of this is clear, as other folks have been talking about throughout this call, to realize our potential, to grow and put this socialist organization to work, and to flex real power in this moment when we need to show it. We have no choice but to rise to the moment and move forward together. It takes all of us, right? And so this work of reaching out to members and asking them to recommit to join you in doing this work and building this organization and this movement, that's what's going to get us through, and that's how we're going to win. So this is also about really imagining how this can help your chapter at the local level continue to build capacity, continue to build a resilient, sustainable organization. Just imagine what could be true for your chapter and the work that you're doing if you had 5 more engaged, activated, excited members ready to plug in. Imagine what it would look like in your chapter if you had 15 more members ready to get involved, or 50, or 500. That is the people power that we're looking to harness. And just like power is organized people, it's also organized money. So thinking really about, people are asking in the chat, why does monthly dues matter? It goes back to your chapter, right? So what would an additional $5 a month for your chapter mean? What would an additional 15 or 50 or $500 a month in that dues mean for what you would be able to do as a chapter? What would be possible for you all as you continue to build power? That's what's at the heart of this drive and why it is so important and vital for everything that we're trying to do, whether it's organizing as workers in our workplaces, getting electeds into office to fight the fight from that position, winning campaigns to make change. And, that's what it's all about, is organized people and organized money. So our goals here, we want to recommit 5,000 DSA members and raise $50,000 in dues commitments by the end of the drive, which will be June 5th. But really, this is also about, again, building that long-term infrastructure in chapters to support member engagement and keep DSA strong. This is about building strong, resilient, sustainable chapters in a strong, resilient, sustainable organization. Thinking a little bit about the timeline and structure of this drive. So here in the month of April, we're kicking off the call now. We've had trainings going on. We've gone through our first round of trainings, and we have a second round of trainings that are kicking off this Wednesday. These trainings will walk you through everything that you need to hold a recommitment drive in your chapter. And chapters are getting ready now to start doing their own phone banks and outreach and text banks to the members in their chapter who are lapsed or expired, and getting them to recommit. We're going to continue doing more events into May. So those chapters are continuing to do their activities. We're going to roll out national phone banks and spoke activities to reach at-large members, and organizing statewide phone banks. And then again, the drive concludes in June. We're going to have a couple of national calls to re-welcome all of those recommitted members. And again, make sure that they're getting engaged, getting involved, and also debriefing with chapters, because this work, this organizing work, is an opportunity for us to reflect and learn and figure out next steps for our chapters and how this can be a springboard for moving forward. In terms of resources, there's a ton of work that's been done and a ton of supports that have been put together. So again, we have 2 great trainings that have been created by our GDC training subcommittee, a chapter toolkit that's full of guides and templates and resources that chapters can use. We have Recommitment Drive coaches who are providing regular support and check-ins for chapters, so they have a community of people. They're not in it alone. They're working together to think through the specifics of the drive in their chapter, as well as a number of tech resources and infrastructure, an incredible dialer that captures a lot of important information that chapters can have as that data to go back to and reflect on. And what's really important here is this drive is designed for everyone, no matter who you are. Like Bill said, do it your way. You know, this is for small chapters, this is for large chapters, this is for at-large members. If you want to get involved, there's a way for you to help build this drive, and we need everybody to find that space that makes them feel excited about doing this work and getting involved. So next, I'm going to pass it over to Beth to talk a little bit more about our leaderboard, our incentives, and all of that.
Awesome. Thanks, Colleen. And I agree with Dan. This is awesome, Colleen. So on the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about prizes, incentives, and the leaderboard. So there's going to be a chapter-based leaderboard, because who doesn't love a little friendly competition? The leaderboard will be updated weekly and will track the % of recommitted, lapsed, and expired members in your chapter over the course of the drive. It will also track the % change in your chapter's overall monthly dues payers. Measuring by % means that we're comparing apples to apples across chapter size. We're also going to have some prizes. There will be prizes including packages with honestly everything that I've ever scrambled for last minute to find in my chapter, which includes customized chapter banners, a megaphone, poster packages, a social media takeover, and raffles for DSA swag. Grand prizes to chapters are going to be based on completing all stages of outreach, so making all of the passes through your lapsed members and your % of members in good standing. And then weekly prizes to chapters are going to be based on % of lapsed members who are recommitted, % expired members who are recommitted, and % of increase in monthly members. And those top performing chapters will also be shortlisted to receive matching funds to open offices, which I think is super exciting. And then you can join national phone banking to be entered into a recommitment raffle to win DSA swag. And there will be a special prize awarded to chapters with the most creative engagement of members during the drive. So those are some of the big prizes, but overall, we all know that socialism wins, and so that's the greatest prize of them all. So let's go to the next slide to talk about 4 big next steps. The first, which I see in the chat a lot, is renew or switch to monthly dues if you haven't at dsausa.org/recommit. Once my credit card, during my term as membership coordinator in Boston, totally expired, and I forgot to pay dues for 2 months. And so I recommitted at $25 a month and used the bank draft, which means that I will never have to deal with an expired credit card ever again. The second big next step, is to sign up for a national phone bank. Again, this is how you get entered into those raffles. I will be hosting the phone bank on May 7th and May 28th. So maybe you want to join one of those. The third step is submit your member story and share why dues rock. And you can upload a quick video and share what inspires you to be a member of DSA. You can see how many times I've said that over the years. And then finally, plug into your chapter's recommitment drive. We need point people, there are coaches, there are tons of people who are here to support you. And if you have questions, you can submit them at at bit.ly/RD questions. And so please do sign up for those 4 big next steps to get involved in DSA's recommitment drive. I'm going to hand it back to Christian, who is going to introduce someone who is my close partner in crime and is in a very special place that matters to the working class.
Thanks so much, Beth. Yes. Okay. So first of all, we're going to finish this call before the top of the hour. Amazing. But it is my extreme pleasure and honor to introduce our next speaker, who is joining us from a very exciting location. Jorge lives in Jersey City, works as an organizer for an NYC nurses union, and previously organized not 1, but 2 of his workplaces. He is on the Growth and Development Committee, co-chairing the training subcommittee with Beth, and eternally committed to the cause of labor. So take it away, Jorge, outside of Amazon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I see I'm not the only person in motion, but I'm so excited to be here from LDG 5. We just had an amazing rally earlier, and I just think this is all what we're talking about when we're talking about scaling up our work and being prepared to meet the moment and win. Thank you, Christian, for the introduction. My name is Zohran Mamdani, live in Jersey City. And I'm a DSA member because I was inspired that a better world is possible. Growing up as a working class immigrant from Ecuador, it felt like power was outside of my reach. To be heard, to have enough to survive, to have respect and dignity, that was something reserved only for the privileged. It took joining a socialist organization to not only learn that a better world is possible, but that how we change that world starts from the bottom up. We need to build DSA to develop a new working class culture and ecosystem. Ordinary working people have the power. From the teacher strikes in the red states back in 2018 to Bernie's campaign centering not me, us, Starbucks organizing tenant struggles, and democratic socialists being elected across the country that are beholden to our movement, the message is very clear. The working class has the power. I ask everybody here, how are we going to continue to inspire this message day in and day out in our work? I'm coming to you live right now in front of the front lines of working class struggle. I'm gonna flip my video over here. This is some evidence of it. Over there, you see JFK8. That is the first unionized Amazon warehouse in the history of the world, right? And tomorrow is gonna be the election of the next site over here, LDG5. Here is all the amazing support we have from members everywhere. We got DSA members in the house. All right. Earlier today, we had people like Sarah Nelson, Bernie Sanders, AOC Speak, labor leaders, socialist organizers. This is the movement that the capitalist class fears. This is the epic battle that we are engaging when we choose to stand up to elites and say enough is enough. When we talk about winning socialism, we are talking about inspiring millions of people to transform society. That's going to take a lot of resources. That's going to take a lot of risks. That's going to take a lot of sacrifice, but we need to be there to meet the moment. So we're here talking about rebuilding. We want to re-energize and we want to recommit. Workers are already in motion. They are already in activity. The opportunities are there. We can't pass up a single moment when in class war. So who's going to push harder, us or the boss? So I'm just going to end this here with a quick chant. Let me see if I can get some people here going. Don't forget to sign up to your chapter to recommit and join the struggle. I'm going to try to do a quick chant here. So give me 1 second. All right, we're going to do a quick chant. All right, ready? When we fight, when we fight, when we fight, who's got the power? Who's got the power? What kind of power? What kind of power? All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget, rebuild, recommit, re-energize, sign up your chapters for all of that. We have a world to win. Let's make it happen.
The last 2 years have been rough. We've been hit with crisis after crisis, and everywhere working class people are being pushed out of politics. Right at the moment that we need to fight like hell. The bosses and billionaires and their politicians and police are sacrificing us during this pandemic. It's no wonder we are exhausted and struggle to organize. but we are finding a way. We've seen huge electoral victories and labor organizing from coast to coast, including major union wins in Starbucks stores from Buffalo to Seattle. Workers everywhere are rising up, and DSA chapters and members are returning to face-to-face meetings, rallies, and canvasses. As working class people, we're fed up. As socialists, we know the answer is class struggle. No force in history is stronger than the working class taking collective action. Let's brush ourselves off and move forward together. Serious politics begins with organizing and mass movements. There are no shortcuts to building power. Join us to rebuild, re-energize, and recommit to building working class power with DSA.
Solidarity, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.